Good afternoon. I'm Drew Bingham, CTO of OTR Solutions.
I'm Ryan Johnson, Director of Product at OTR.
Today we're going to talk to you about how Epay Manager, powered by OTR Solutions, solves 3 of the top broker pain points, including AP and AR disconnected workflow, managing disputes, and the carrier invoicing process, all activities which eat into your time and margin.
Yeah, for example, in a recent survey with Break Caviar, we found that the average back office broker employee is spending at least 12% of their day auditing paperwork.
All of these things Epay can help with, so let's dive in.
So right now we're looking at the Epay landing page from the broker perspective, where on the left you can see menus for both payables and receivables. Both AP and AR teams can utilize Epay to manage the transaction lifecycle from pending to paid.
Thanks, Ryan. Now, let's start off our demonstration by assuming the load has just been marked delivered in one of our seamlessly integrated TMS partner solutions.
Yeah, so 3 main things are going to happen from there. Firstly, a payable and an automatically linked receivable are going to be created in a pending state using data from your TMS. As part of that, an invoice will be created for the payable on behalf of the carrier, removing the need for the carrier to send you their own invoice. And lastly, the carrier will be notified to log into Epay, upload their POD documents, and accept or dispute the invoice.
Now, what's nice about this is it figures the carrier prominently in the invoicing workflow by proactively reaching out to them to attach their documents directly to the load and approve the invoice amount. We treat our over 200,000 registered carriers and factors as first-class citizens, streamlining their workflow and fostering positive business relationships with you, the broker.
Yeah, so now we're looking at Epay from the carrier perspective, and their actions in here are pretty simple. After receiving notice from Epay, they can log in, view the invoice, and upload documents using the Upload Documents or Email Attachments button from the invoice page. Once complete, they can confirm or change their payment terms based on what your brokerage is offering them. And lastly, they can accept the invoice, assuming that all the amounts are correct. Now, in the case a carrier wanted to dispute this invoice rather than accept it, they can also do that from this page. Using unplanned detention time as the example, the first thing they would do is request a change. They would specify the type of the change and the amount for the change. And they would leave a note for the broker to review during the resolution process. Once submitted, the carrier would be able to follow the status of this dispute right here from within Epay.
And what's fantastic about this is the entire dispute process is contained within the Epay platform. So there's no need to get on the phone to call that carrier or dig through your email inbox to figure out what's wrong. So the purpose of this demo, let's just assume everything checks out and we're okay to accept this invoice. Great. Now jumping back into the broker's shoes, you can see that the invoice is in the invoice state and ready for review. Clicking into the details, I can look at my Document Insights widget and see that the POD documentation has been included, and that there are no red check marks in any of our key verifications. So given this, we're okay to go ahead and approve this invoice. It's just that easy.
Now, if an invoice had been disputed, like we just showed you a moment ago, you would navigate to the disputed status within Epay to find and manage that change. Disputes can be resolved manually, or you can create rules to do this automatically. Once a dispute has been resolved, it simply goes back to the carrier for final acceptance.
And what gets better is that once the payable is approved, you can set up automation rules to attach that approved documentation to your linked receivable and go ahead and invoice your customer.
This is a simple but very useful capability. When talking with brokers, we found cases where it can take up to 2 weeks to invoice a shipper after a load's been delivered, which obviously has a big impact on your DSO and your cash flow objectives.
So to recap what you just seen, we have a payable marked for approval and on a path to payment on terms selected by the carrier. We have the receivable out for collection with our shipper. And at this point, the relevant information about both your AP and your AR workflow flows back into your TMS for following the load and completing the proper accounting functions.
Yeah, and what could have taken your team days to review and pay out, we've done here in just a few minutes.
Now, we've also done a survey with Freight Caviar and found that 7 in 10 brokers report that invalid or incorrect paperwork was a key pain point. So Epay has already removed one manual step by directly linking the documentation directly to the load. Now, if you're interested in further efficiency, Epay offers a Document Insights widget that utilizes our proprietary AI algorithm to classify and verify your documents. Let's dive in and see how that works.
So one of the first things you'll see when I click into an invoice is this Document Insights widget that's going to highlight the results of common verifications, as well as the presence and count of different document types. Now, the model making these determinations is actually one we've used internally at OTR for years, meaning it's trained on millions of POD documents. And based on brokers we have using this in production today, we've seen an average classification accuracy of 99% week over week. This is going to help you verify the delivery documents you got against the invoice that was generated using data from your TMS. Now, assuming this view all checks out, the idea here is that we enable a no-look or a very light-look approval, wherein you don't even have to view the documents in order to approve this invoice.
Now, we all know carrier paperwork is not perfect. So let's show you how this Epay Manager handles this. If you're looking in the Document Insights widget, you can see there's a red check mark next to the signature, which means there's a problem. So Ryan can dive into the details using the Quick View widget and quickly find where the problem is.
Yeah, so on the left-hand side here, you're going to see a summary of the various attributes that Epay analyzed. For certain attributes, trace lines are going to exist so that you can quickly get an understanding behind a given verification result. In this case, you're going to verify what our Document Insights told us earlier. This BOL is missing a signature, so I'm going to want to reject this and return it back to the carrier for correction.
That's right. And all this functionality saves time that you would have otherwise been spent just digging through documents yourselves. In fact, in the time it takes us to complete this demo, the average Epay broker would have completed 50 documents. Ultimately, it comes down to the fact that your time is too valuable to be spent sifting through email inboxes. Let Epay do the hard work for you. Come by our booth. We'd be happy to go into this process in more detail and show you how Epay can make your back office better. Thank you.